We're going to do a quick unboxing of the AUTEL EVO II. This is the 8K version. The 6K version is packaged exactly the same. Here we go. Now let's take a quick look inside the box. Top cover off. Here we have the drone, the controller, and the power supply. This is a heavy drone. This is not your grandma's Mavic Mini. I like the motors. They have this nice red touch on the top, just like you would get in the FPV drone world, where they really make their motors look nice. Clear see-through gimbal guard. The arms fold out identical to the EVO I. Remove all the protective plastic. Battery is partially out as shipped, so it doesn't make connection. Here we see the battery, 7100 milliamp battery. It is a 4-cell, and these things are really expensive. Let's see how much power it ships with. It's almost 3/4 full. Without the battery in the drone, it's really not that heavy. Brushless motors, foldable props. Let's count the sensors. 2 in the back for obstacle avoidance, 2 in the front for obstacle avoidance, 2 in the side for obstacle avoidance, 2 on the other side for obstacle avoidance, 2 obstacle sensors on the top, which is really good when flying under trees, 2 on the bottom for landing and obstacle avoidance, 2 ultrasonic sensors to know that there's something underneath like water, land, earth, height, and 2 LED landing lights. The EVO II has some onboard memory just in case you forget to put your own micro SD card in it, and here's your micro SD card slot right here. AUTEL does include a 32 gig U3 micro SD card. The matte finish on the drone is really nice, but I have to say for the price of this drone, it does look very plasticky. Here you can see the 8K camera. I know it looks very tiny little pinhole type lens in there. The sensor is very tiny. Now, even though the sensor is small on here, and even though the lens is really small, there is a focusing system in here, and it's really good. You can focus on objects that are really close, within inches away, and also on objects that are super far away. It's really good. And you can see inside how the gimbal is attached. Very nice. Nothing further on this side of the box. Let's take a look at the controller. Now, if you have the EVO I, it's the same identical controller on the EVO II. So there's no real thrill in looking at the controller. I'll just pull it out to show you quickly. Everything is the same as the EVO I. Overall, a really good remote. I really enjoyed it on the EVO I, and the only thing I never liked were these 2 buttons, because whenever you put it in your hand, beep, 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 you're always hitting them. Let's see if they included the exact same charger as the EVO I. You know, the battery is different, so it should look a little different. Let's pull this out. Very similar looking charger. Everything's included. Attaches to the battery in a similar fashion. Obviously, it has more output power because the battery is larger. Here's the EVO II charger, and here's the EVO I charger. Pretty much everything on the back looks identical, except for, as I mentioned, the output voltage. On the new one, it's 13.2 volts out at 5 amps. And on the old one, it is output of 13.05 volts at 3.83 amps. Pretty much everything identical. USB here on the new one and USB on the old one. The last item in the box is this, and I would assume this would be your spare props, as well as a few other goodies that we're used to. So what do we have? We have a USB cable, spare props, 2 sets of spare props, quick start instruction guide, and you get this for your cell phone to connect your cell phone to the controller. Let's see what they give you. And there we go. If you have an Android device, you are golden. Everything's perfect. If you have an iOS device, you're going to have to supply your own cable. So if you have an iPhone, you need your own cable. The AUTEL EVO I and the AUTEL EVO II down here are the drones on the market that come with an integrated display in the controller. And this is pretty good because you do not need a cell phone to fly, and they have a little button over here called DSP display. If you press that, it changes my display to what the EVO sees. So right now the EVO sees, well, it sees my little Captain Drone sticker here. And what's more cool than that is that the EVO II has a focus range better than most drones. So watch this. I can bring this here object, my little Captain Drone sticker, look how close I am down there, and look what's on my image here. It will focus right up. I don't know why it could do almost like macro photography. That is crazy. And when you take it away, objects in the back will be out of focus, but as soon as I do this, they will be in focus because it can focus at a distance and it can refocus close up. That is something that's pretty wild on a drone this size. And finally, it goes without saying, the AUTEL EVO has 0 no-fly zones. So you can fly this any place you want, and you'll have no problems whatsoever. All right, let's take the EVO out of my case. There we go. It is quite large compared to the EVO 1. Controller is still the same design, same style. Now you'll notice in my case I have this long purple wire here. That's from my wife's iPad mini, because when you buy the EVO II, for some reason AUTEL does not include a lightning cable for the controller if you have an Apple, phone. So you got to get your own cable. Power up the EVO. All right, we've got the EVO II down there. I've got my wife's long cable here, which is kind of ridiculous. I'm holding it with my hand. If you look at the interface on my phone, I should be showing you that on the screen right now. You'll see you have two items. On the left, you have an item that says camera, and on the right, you have missions. So missions is your waypoints and all that good stuff, and I'm not going to get into that today. I'll save that for another video. Today, we're just going to go into camera. So I'll start that. There we are. So there's my camera. That's what it sees. First thing we're going to do is take off. So now you have a choice on takeoff. You can pull the sticks in, you can hit the takeoff button, or you can tell it to take off. So if I go in the talk button here, and you just say, take off. There we go. So she's going to take off.
Okay, taking off now.
Great. So it does what I want it to do. And I could say, record video.
Okay, recording now. Start recording.
There we go. So the recording's on, and there's the EVO. Now look at how stable it is. Obviously, they have tweaked the AUTEL EVO II. It is incredible. I flew it yesterday in high winds, and it was super stable. It's a really awesome drone. Like, it's not at all like the EVO 1. Somehow they've tweaked it to the point that it's tweaked to DJI standards or even beyond. It's really, really good for stability. Let's take it up. Nice and smooth. Now, if you look at my interface, look at my phone interface, you can see on the top center, it says 32. Now it says 31. That's how many minutes of flight time I have left. The gimbal is really smooth too. I can bring it down on me. Here it is coming down, looking at me. I'm recording right now. I'll just show you on my screen. Pick this up. It shows that I'm recording at 4K 30 FPS. You can see it over on the bottom left. Now I can change that to a higher resolution. But before I do that, let me put it to a lower resolution and show you the slow motion on here. I'm going to go through all the video resolutions. All right, so I'm going to click on the 4K. You see on the left I have 8K, 6K, 4K. 2.7K is what I want. And I want 120 frames per second. And there we go. And I'm going to put it on record.
Start recording.
And I'll show you 120 frames per second in slow motion, and that's what it's recording in now. So here I am flopping around, my arms all over the place. Cars on the road are looking at me wondering, what the heck is this guy doing? Now the video that you're watching here on your cell phone, your tablet, your computer at home, your big screen TV is recorded in 4K 30 frames per second. So if I change the resolution on here to 4K 60 frames per second, you won't notice a difference. If I change the resolution on here to 6K 30 frames per second, you won't notice a difference because you're watching it in 4K 30. If I change it to 8K 24 frames per second, you won't notice a difference. However, if you buy this drone and you don't own an 8K tablet, TV, phone, all that other good stuff, the reason you buy the 8K AUTEL EVO is for the purpose of cropping in your video. It's kind of like a zoom effect. I'll show you this in real time. All right, my EVO is way up there and it's pointing all the way down there at an intersection. There's a lady jogger and a man jogger just running by there. So this is 4K 30 frames per second. If I want to zoom into that intersection, I can only do it so much in 4K because this video's in 4K. So as soon as I start cropping, I start to lose some detail and resolution. So for that reason, let's jump up to 6K. So if you look at my screen, I'm in 4K and I'm going to go to 6K. And 6K lets me go all the way up to 30 frames per second. So now this is a higher resolution. I'm going to hit record.
Start recording.
Now I can slowly crop in to that intersection and see a little bit more detail. So if there's a car going by, people going by, I should be able to get a bit more detail on them because I can zoom right in. So as I've been talking here, I'm actually zooming in on the 6K image and the resolution should look pretty good. It should retain a lot of that detail. All right, let's stop that and go to 8K. So on my screen, I'm going to go to 8K. And if you notice, 8K shows me I can go to 25 frames per second or 24 frames per second. Let me just click the 25 and then I'm going to pick 24. There we go. So now I'm going to put it on record.
Start recording.
And I can zoom into that intersection again. So as I zoom in, this is an 8K video. It's twice the resolution of 4K. So by zooming into the resolution, I can zoom all the way down until I'm almost back to 4K, and it's going to look like a 4K image, but really zoomed in. So I get a lot of detail of what's happening out there. So that's the purpose of having 8K on a drone that you're probably only going to use 4K for the most part. Pretty cool, eh? Okay, we're going to switch over to photos now, and I'm going to show you the same thing. So when you take a photo, you can take a 48 megapixel resolution photo, which is pretty high end. So watch this. I'm looking over at the industry in front of me, and I'm going to snap a JPEG photo. So my drone's way up there, the photo's been taken, and now I'm zooming into that photo. So as you can see, as I zoom in on a 48 megapixel photo, the resolution is really high end. You can really zoom in. So you can take a photo from far away, crop it, and get a really good picture. It's awesome. All right, now like a lot of drones on the market today, there's an HDR feature, high dynamic range. And a lot of times the HDR is really pretty bad. It's not that great. On the Evo, I tried it yesterday. It's not that bad. It's very, very subtle what it does to the image. So what I'm going to do is, it's recording right now, no HDR is on. I'm going to yaw it, and I'm going to do a 360 yaw, and then I'm going to do the same thing with HDR. And I'll try to put the pictures together. All right, could you see a difference between HDR or non-HDR? So here we go, I'll show you a typical obstacle avoidance. Evo's here, right over there is a bunch of long, tall grass, so I'm gonna fly into it. All right, long, tall grass here, Evo over there, let's ram into this grass. Coming forward, if you watch my phone display, it should show you that it sees the grass and should stop. There we go, stops. And you should see it on the top of the phone display. If I turn it to the side, it should show me that the grass is on the side. There you see it on the left. If I turn it to the back, I should see that there's something behind me. Bring it down, should see it even more. There we go. So that's pretty cool. And of course there's sensors on the top and they work the same way. Next thing to show you, if you look at the top left, I'm going to show you all the flight features that come with this. There's not as many on an Evo 2 as there is on a Mavic 2 Pro, but the ones they do include are ones you'd use quite a bit. So here we go. First one, click on manual flight. There they all are listed. I'm going to go through them all really quick. First one, dynamic track. That's active track, finish. I just have to tap me. There's a little green thing in my groin area. I've talked to the doctor about that. 3, 2, 1. I will go into active track mode. I want to show you something really cool with active track on the Evo. Watch this. The Evo 1 does not have this, but this one has it. Here we go. So, see this in front of me? That's a hill. The Evo 1 would crash into that hill. Most drones on the market will crash into this hill following. Watch the height. If you look at the height, you see right at the top, a little bit to the right of the center, there's my height. Watch it change as I change height, going up this hill. There we go, as I try not to fall down. There we are. So I'm on top of a hill. This guy's up in the air. He followed me up. Now you're asking, well, what about if you go down? Will he follow you down? Let's see. So it's tracking me. That means if I go down, he has to go down. So this is perfect for tracking you on a bike, a mountain bike, motorcycle, anything where you're driving up and down hills or anything like that, hiking. Then I go down and he's coming down. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? I think it is. All right, let me show you another one. I'll hop out of that. Next one is tripod track. Tripod track just leaves the camera in place. So watch this. Tripod, touch my groin again. 3, 2, 1. And the drone will stay there, but I will walk away. But it will track me as I'm walking away. It will not follow me by flying towards me. It will just stay right where it is. So as I'm walking, you see the AUTEL EVO is just sitting up in the air up there. And it's just tracking me as I move, but it stays still. So that's good if you're filming like people in a park, dogs, kids, horses, whatever. Just leave it in one spot, everybody runs around and life is good. Next one on here is parallel track. I'll click on that. This will just stay parallel. The reason you use this, I'm just gonna go finish, tap myself again. This is for getting the lighting right. So the sun's there, I have the drone facing away from the sun. I want the drone never to point at the sun no matter where I move. So I put on parallel track. If I walk, it's always going to stay on that side of me. The sun's always going to be behind it no matter where I go. So I can change direction, go this way. Sun's always in the back. go this way. So this is a photography tool. If you are somebody who knows cameras and cinematography, this is a classic thing we all use to get the proper lighting, and I'm falling in holes here. Next one is viewpoint. That was in the AUTEL EVO I. That's basically tap to fly. If I move the gimbal up, you'll see this white line. That's the horizon. It says you can tap anywhere above the horizon. So if I want the Evo to go to that tree, I tap on the tree and start. It will fly over me. You notice I can adjust the speed, but there you go. So you can fly it. That's how fast it goes. It's going to head over to that tree. It won't crash because it has obstacle avoidance. Orbit on here is the same as on the AUTEL EVO I. So I'm just going to get out of that and I'll show you how it is. It's very simple to use. So it says basically orbit something. So I'm going to orbit me. So I'll just bring the drone way up in the air. Evo's up there. I hit set A. There we go. It says make a radius. So I'll fly backwards. There we go. I'll put a radius back there. There's the next set. And next thing I do is decide which flight direction. But before I do that, let me find me on the screen here. There we go. Put my little triangles on me. And then I'm going to hit start. I've already told it to go clockwise. I'm going to put on the record. And it should start orbiting me any second. Come on. There we go. I'm not doing anything, and it will just orbit me in a nice huge circle. One thing to note, it likes to be high up in the air, which is very wise on AUTEL's part because they don't want you orbiting low to the ground, hitting the trees. So as the drone's orbiting, let me show you the maps on my screen really quick. There we are. So it shows you, this is what you see. It's that type of map. You can adjust it on the right-hand side. If I keep looking at my drone on the map, you'll see it's rotating as well. So let me go back. You can also stop things by the pause button right here. So I'll hit that. There we go. It's paused. It stopped. Next is gesture control. This one is kind of gimmicky. I did this one yesterday, so I'll show you the one I did yesterday. Put your arms out to take a photo. And here you can see my video from yesterday doing it. It was pretty darn decent. And I took a photo, and by putting my arms out, it snaps photos and counts down. So you have 3 seconds to basically smile or go into a pose to have a photo taken. Almost at the end. Precision flight is the next one. Let me click on that one. You can see at the bottom icon. This is like tripod mode on a lot of drones. But on this one, I have full control over it. So I have max height speed. There you go. I have max vertical speed. And I have max rotation speed. Full joystick forward, and that's your speed. It's like tripod mode. And the last one on here is dual stability. Click on that one. All that does is it changes your acceleration and braking. So it's tripod mode with slow acceleration and slow braking. Here we go. I'm going to go full blast forward. There we go. Slow takeoff. So it makes your image very, very stable because no jerky movement, especially if it's windy out. And the same as when I release and put the brakes on. There we go. Supposed to be nice and slow. Next, I'm going to quickly show you the flight speed. So I'm going to leave it in the normal default flight speed, and I'm just going to fly really fast against the wind, and then with the wind here, you'll see it, and you'll see my top speed. So that's a normal speed. Now I'm going to change it to ludicrous. Ludicrous has many different speeds. You can go up into the 70s of kilometers an hour, but I'm going to leave it at the default ludicrous speed here. And if you look up top on my phone screen, you can see the maximum speed I obtained flying in the default ludicrous speed. Okay, last thing we're going to do is a quick return to home. I want to see how good the precision landing is, so I'll just take it up. There we go. And I'm just going to fly it forward. Not too far, just so we can still see it. And there we go. Stop it there. And I want to see if it comes back. Here we go. Return to home. Look at the top. It shows you how much battery power I have left. I have 5 minutes and 16 or 19 seconds left. And it's coming down. Now, one thing I have to say is for the precision landing, I have to stop it so it doesn't land, because look what's around here. It's going to hit something if it doesn't land perfectly on the landing pad. I don't expect it to land on the landing pad. It's coming down. Here, I'll just get out of the way so the sensors don't do anything weird.
Critically low battery level.
Yes, yes, yes. Not just my battery's critically low, but it's coming home, so. And it's come, it's not bad. Hey, it found the landing pad. Look at all the objects I have around there, and it found itself. Look at that. Oh, that is freaking awesome. That is incredible. Come on down. Oh, what's it say? Unsafe? Well, I'm going to land it myself. There we go. That's impressive that it landed with everything in the way. There we go. Well, I hit a little piece of grass here. Thank you. Oh, and it stops recording when it lands. That's a nice feature. It took off from over there and it landed over here. So what would you say that is? About 8 inches difference? That's pretty decent. Right there. So That's impressive. So looking at my phone screen, in my flight records, it shows I have 2 flights, which I did. I flew yesterday and today. So yesterday I flew for a total of 26 minutes and 57 seconds. And today I flew for a total of 30 minutes and 53 seconds. All right, so this brings me to the end of this review of the AUTEL EVO II. I will say the AUTEL EVO flies, really good. It is quite expensive for a drone. It's no different than buying a Mavic 2 Pro, especially with the 8K. If you have a computer powerful enough to take the 8K video, process it, crop into it, then that's great. My computer is a Mac and it struggles a little bit, but I have a ton of memory in the Mac, so it's not a problem. You can use proxies. Proxies is when you take a file that's massive, like an 8K file, make a proxy of it, and it turns it into some low resolution file in your timeline, and you can edit it really easy. That's great if all your footage is 8K. But if every now and then you just do 8K to capture one little thing, you don't have to do that. Most computers can process, most good computers can process 8K. It might be a little choppy, but it's good enough to get by. And then when you render it, it's smooth as can be, as you've seen in this video. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And if you don't have yourself an AUTEL EVO II and you live outside of the United States, well, I live in Canada. I got mine from DroneWare. So save up your bottles, your pennies, your cans, and get yourself an AUTEL EVO II. But check out more videos coming in the future of all different types of drones. So watch for that. Take care. Catch you in the next one.